Hello and welcome to Oireachtas in Focus. We hope that through this series you'll learn something about the work going on here in Leinster House, and it'll also introduce you to some of the work being undertaken by the Oireachtas members. Our first in the series features the Seanad Public Consultation Committee. The Seanad Public Consultation Committee was established in September 2011 to strengthen dialogue between Seanad Éireann and the public on a wide range of public policy subjects. It aims to specify and publicise areas related to the legislative powers of the Seanad and to invite submissions from public interest groups. Earlier this year, the Seanad Public Consultation Committee decided to carry out a public consultation on farm safety, due in no small part to the high number of fatalities on farms in recent years, and to highlight the need to increase awareness of the dangers on farms. Interested organisations and individuals were invited to send written submissions on the issue of farm safety to the committee. The committee reviewed the submissions received and invited the contributors to attend a session of the committee that was held in the Seanad's chamber on the 23rd of March. Before that, Oireachtas TV went and met some of those contributors who had made submissions to the Seanad Public Consultation Committee. The first of these was Martin O'Halloran from the Health and Safety Authority. We visited Martin at the HSA headquarters in Dublin and spoke to him about his views on farm safety and the HSA's priorities on how it can be improved. The first question, Martin, I'd like to ask you is just the role of the Health and Safety Authority in relation to farm safety and on farms generally in Ireland.
Okay, well, the Health and Safety Authority has a number of different roles, but they're very much related. One role is the advice, information and guidance role, and the other is the inspection enforcement role. Now, they're not mutually separate because they do overlap. In terms of the advice information, we provide advice information through our website, through social media and through all of the channels to farming. We also used as a means to collaborate with and work in partnership with all of the stakeholders in farming, and by that I mean the IFA, the ICSA, the ICMSA, Teagasc, the insurance industry, the farming media. The other part of our role is inspection, and we do in the region of 2,000 plus inspections a year, or we sometimes call them farm safety visits. The role of the inspector is to give advice and information again, but sometimes they do find very serious situations, and we have set out some areas where we have been seeing the same behaviours over a number of years. Since the authority was established in 1989 and under the piece of legislation that was brought in to establish the authority, Ireland has made enormous progress. The fatality rate in Irish industry has come down by half in that time. So that has resulted in many hundreds of people having good, healthy lives who might otherwise be dead. We haven't succeeded in getting the same in agriculture. We did see maybe a false dawn. We saw some years that were good, but in the last couple of years the numbers have not been good, and farming has represented a disproportionately high number of fatalities. Farming represents about 6% of the working population of Ireland, but accounts for something in the region of 50% of the fatalities. So you're about 12 to 15 times more likely to be killed in a workplace accident if you're a farmer than if you work in the general economy. But we will be encouraging, and we will be saying to the Seanad Committee that we think that social dialogue is terribly important. In other words, involving all the stakeholders. And through our partnership model, we achieve that. We will also be talking about, adopting a fairly low threshold of tolerance for habitual hazards and risks that we've seen year in, year out, and which are causing high levels of fatalities. And they are things like unguarded PTOs, unguarded slurry tanks and lagoons, inappropriate or not adequate ventilation or agitation when slurry is being agitated, and of course there is the one where this year we had a number of children killed on farms, where children are running to get into the cab with their parents. In 2015 we've had very keen interest taken by our elected representatives, our parliamentarians and our senators in the Seanad in the issue of farm safety, and I think that's correct, because last year we had 20 farmers killed in workplace accidents. If I look back 2 or 3 years, this was sort of a message from the Health and Safety Authority. Now it's not a message from the Health and Safety Authority, it's a message from all of the people in agriculture, and it's coming from the Minister for Agriculture, Food and Marine, Simon Coveney. It's coming from the Minister for Business and Employment, Jed Nash. So it's now becoming a national agenda, and I suppose we feel the success is going to revolve around that, because when you get that high level of awareness, strong commitment, that translates into behaviour, and when you get the right behaviours, that drives the accidents down. So yes, I'm very pleased that the Seanad committee has taken such a keen interest, and we believe that every message that goes there is going to change behaviour.
The second person we spoke to was Eddie Downey, president of the IFA. We visited his farm at Slane in County Meath to get the IFA's views on farm safety. Eddie Downey, can you explain the role of the IFA in relation to farm safety?
Well, I think, look, we're the largest farm organisation in the country. We represent over 90,000 members, and we have branches all over in every parish in the country. So it's absolutely essential that we engage with our members and get them to think differently as regards farm safety.
Great strides have been made in reducing the number of workplace fatalities in the last 25 years. Sadly, this reduction has not been as evident in the agriculture sector. What can the IFA and farmers generally do to improve this?
2015 should be that farm safety is our priority as an organisation. All the other issues are critically important, of income and all the other issues surrounding agriculture. But this is one area where we've lost just too many people last year, and we have to change attitude, change the way we do things. And I constantly talk about the effect that we need to now farm defensively. You're on my farm here at the moment. Well, when I leave the kitchen every morning, my objective and my son's objective should be to get back to that kitchen at night.
OK, when you say farm defensively, can you give us a little bit more detail on that?
Well, absolutely. We have to realise this is a place that can kill. This is a dangerous place. We need to, when we work there, we need to remove areas where there's danger. And if you just think of a tractor and a loader with the loader raised up and a spike on it, well, that's a lethal weapon. If you put the loader to the ground, put it down in a safe position, then it's safe. A tractor with the handbrake off, it's a lethal weapon. Pull the handbrake, it's safe. These are the simple measures we need to do here and make changes on. We wouldn't oppose anything that we saw that would be of value as regards reducing the number of fatalities on farms or making farms safer. But we believe that the inspectors who come onto a farm and who come in to look at your farm to see if it's safe or if it's not, that we should be able to, as farmers, welcome them onto the farm and not have the fear that these people could take income away from us or make our lives difficult. Safety is about making people aware of what's going on there and making positive steps towards changing them. I believe this is a very important event. It's very important that we get the Seanad engaged here. We're heading into an election year, so all of these politicians are going to be meeting people. Let's get them put the message out there to tell people to farm safely. I think a number of good initiatives have happened over the last year. Particularly there was a farm safety grant put in place. Farmers have subscribed to that. So I just want to make the Senate aware, make people aware that we are actually, as farmers, engaged in trying to make these places safe. I think it will highlight the issue, but I think the report's going to be created afterwards. I hope it just won't sit there and gather dust. I think we need to be active out there, making sure that we make farms safe.
From Slane, we travelled to Ballybay in County Monaghan to meet 16-year-old transition year student Patrick Duffy and hear what he had to say about farm safety. Patrick was the youngest person to make a submission to the Seanad Public Consultation Committee. Patrick, are you looking forward to making the presentation next Monday to the Seanad Public Consultation Committee?
Yes, I'm very much looking forward to it. It's an experience that doesn't come along very often.
Can you tell me, how did you hear about making the submission?
Well, having an interest in politics, I spend a lot of time visiting the Houses of Oireachtas website on the internet. And I remember before Christmas, I went on to the homepage and I saw there a picture of cattle, and I saw that the Seanad Public Consultation Committee was looking for submissions on farm safety, and I had this board game at home developed, and so I decided to send it away as part of a submission.
OK, can you tell us a little bit about that board game?
Well, the board game is based, it's aimed at primary school children, teach them the rights and wrongs per se of farm safety. It's a very simple game. Say I roll a dice, I can land in a positive space, such as farm safety signs put in place, or farmers completed this risk assessment document. Likewise, I could land in a negative space, such as children playing in the field with a bull or an open slurry tank, and I go back 2 or 3 spaces for that. So it aims to teach them what is dangerous and how to fix them on the farms. currently there's a lack of awareness among our young people about farm safety, and so I decided to make the submission and centre it on how we need more education, both in our schools and at home, to teach farm safety to our children.
Do you know anybody personally who has suffered an accident on a farm?
I do know several people around the place to see and personally who have been affected by farm accidents. I know a lot of my own relatives have suffered minor injuries. I suppose the saddest incident I know of is I have an aunt whose brother died on a farm, Larry Wax in Cavan. I think it was the 19th person to die last year. It was very, very sad. And the worst thing was that he was a careful man, a very careful man, and that shows that even the most carefulest of people can be unlucky when it comes to farm safety.
What do you find needs most attention and care on farms today?
I suppose statistically the biggest dangers are livestock and machinery, but I believe if there's more awareness among the farming community as a whole, farmers, without even them noticing, will be more careful about such hazards on farms. So I think that everybody should really talk about it, and if there is more awareness and there is more education, people will become aware and more cautious around various hazards on the farms.
And is it something that you and your friends and your peers in Ballybay Community College, would you talk about farm safety at all?
To be honest, not quite a lot. I know a lot of young people in general, they love talking about farming, but the issue of farm safety never came up. So that's what I say when I think there is currently a lack of awareness, in my personal opinion, about farm safety among our young people.
On the 23rd of March, Martin, Eddie and Patrick joined the senators in the Shannon Public Consultation Committee to give their views and discuss their ideas. The other individuals or organisations who made submissions also attended the hearings that were held in the Shannon Chamber.
The Public Consultation Committee was a new concept for this Senate, which we set up to deal with specific items like farm safety, like ones for the elderly, and we've had about 4 or 5 reports currently, and we hope to have a number of other reports for the remainder of the Senate. We try to do about 2 a year. But I think it's worked out very well, and today I think is a prime example of it.
A few things I've gleaned from it in a nutshell is that safety in farms has to be farm-led. The farm organisations, the rural groups, the farmers themselves have to initiate this with the help of government and with the help of people like Teagasc and the health and safety authorities and so on. If we compare what's happening in the rest of Europe, we're lagging behind. And my plan is, and my view is from what happened today, particularly with good ideas, that in a decade we can roll back, a bit like the health, the safety on our roads, we can roll back that in 10 years' time the amount of deaths on farms will be in the lower digits rather than up at 30, which is at the minute.
The whole issue of farm safety affects 400,000 of our citizens. There are 250,000 people approximately involved in farming, both full and part-time, but there's about 400,000 people who live on family farms. So we have a responsibility to do everything we can to inform them, equip them and ensure that they have the best possible farm safety training and education so as we can reduce farm deaths. Unfortunately, too many people have lost their lives as a result of farm accidents in recent years. What our committee now needs to do is to basically sit down now, analyse the oral evidence coupled with the written submissions we received. There were phenomenal submissions. There's an awful lot of people bubbling away in the background doing fantastic work in the area of farm safety. So what we want to do now is make recommendations to government that will assist and enable them to do a better job, which hopefully will ultimately result in a reduction in the number of people who lose their lives as a result of farm accidents.
We're mindful of getting this done as quickly as possible and allowing for Easter. We would hope that the report will be published by us within, at very most, a 2-month period. So you're looking at 6 to 8 weeks down the road that we'll have a report, we'll have an official launch, and we hope that the farmer organisations, as many as possible, and those interested and those who made submissions today, and others members, including possibly the Minister for Agriculture, Minister Coveney, who couldn't make it today, would come for our official launch and give a fresh impetus, shining the spotlight really on farm safety, which would be very important.
But I think the public consultation committee is a very good concept, and I think the one that has been recognised by people outside of Shannon that it is a good idea to have such a committee operating, and I'm glad that I initiated that over the last number of years.
For more information on the Shannon's Public Consultation Committee or the work of the Houses of the Oireachtas, please visit our website at oireachtas.ie. Thanks for joining me.